Warning, this podcast was produced by two men who still think that swearing is both big and clever. As a result, it contains quite a lot of it. Therefore, this podcast is not suitable for children, unless they're really fucking cool children. Hey folks, this is Dave Fenson with another episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. This is the Lockdown Quiz Edition number 3. First of all, I want to say a big hello and thank you to all of our new listeners who have joined us for these quiz episodes. Just if you are new to the podcast, these quiz episodes are basically born out of lockdown, being locked away at the moment and not being able to get together and record as regularly as we can. We started putting together a Facebook Live quiz every Friday and just decided to record the questions and repackage them as a podcast. So obviously it seems like the first one's been incredibly popular, second one's not doing too badly either. So it seems like people are tuning in for these. So if you are here for this, I'd let you know what the regular format of the podcast is. We're two guys that basically get together and we were reviewing every number one UK album of the 90s in order. We started all the way with the first one at the start of 1990 and we're about halfway through 1992 as we speak. We're very sweary, quite irreverent. The number one albums are not necessarily the things we'd have been listening to at the time. We're big fans of alternative music, hip hop, all of those kind of good, exciting things that were happening in the 90s. So yeah, if you enjoy the quizzes, then maybe check out some of the episodes. If you want a funny episode, the New Kid on the Block episode is a good one to start with. If you want an album where we were surprised and ended up loving it, the recent episode on The Cure was a good episode for that. Or really just dig into any that you fancy. If you are a regular listener, then hello. Yeah, we're still locked down, guys. Fucking hell, what's going on? This really should have probably been the Iron Maiden episode. Unfortunately, I was a bit ill over the weekend, so we couldn't record it as we hoped we would be able to. So we should have that for you next week. That'll be on Fear of the Dark. The number one album from Iron Maiden. Anyway, so with no further ado, I'm going to crack on with the quiz. Let's hear some theme music. Okay, round one of this week's quiz. This is, as always, a trivia round, the easier of the two trivia rounds. It's going to be 10 questions. You get 1 point for each correct answer, unless otherwise stated. I will give you the answers to these questions at the end of the podcast. So, round one, question one. Meatloaf had one number one single in the 1990s. Can you name it? That's question one. Meatloaf had one number one single in the 1990s. I need you to tell me what that was. Obviously, I'm going to go through these questions quite quickly, so pause in between questions if you need a bit more time. Question number two. Whose first UK chart hit of the 1990s was Uno Dos Tres Maria in 1997, and his last hit of the 90s was Shake Your Bon Bon in 1999. That's whose first hit of the 90s was Uno Dos Tres Maria in 97, and last of the decade was Shake Your Bon Bon in 1999. Question number three. Manic Street Preachers had one number one single in the 90s. Can you name it? That's the Manic Street Preachers had one number one single in the 90s. What was it? Question number four. Who had a hit in 1998 with Who Am I? Zim Zimmer. That's who had a hit in 1998 with Who Am I? Zim Zimmer. Question number five. Who had a top 10 hit with What Is Love in 1993? That's who had a top 10 hit with What Is Love in 1993. Question number six. Which 1990 song has the lyric, I'm a million different people from one day to the next? That's which 1990 song has the lyric, I'm a million different people from one day to the next. Question number 7. In what year did Chesney Hawkes release The One and Only? That's question number 7. In what year did Chesney Hawkes release The One and Only? Question number 8. Who released the single Doo Wop That Thing in 1998? Question number 8. Who released the single Doo Wop That Thing in 1998? Question number 9. Which US rock group formed in 1991 is fronted by Brandon Boyd? That's which US rock group formed in 1991 is fronted by Brandon Boyd. Question number 10. Who had hit singles in the early 90s with Blue Hotel and Wicked Game? That's who had hit singles in the early 90s with Blue Hotel and Wicked Game. Okay, round 2. This is all about novelty songs. This is all about those kind of annoying, catchy songs that get in your head. The 90s was absolutely littered with them. So we've got 10 questions on that subject for you now. So question number 1. Rolf Harris had top 50 hits with novelty takes on 2 classic rock cover versions in the 90s. Name either of them. That's Rolf Harris had top 50 hits with novelty takes on 2 classic rock cover versions in the 90s. Name either of them. Number 2. Mr. Blobby had a Christmas number 1 in the 90s, but which year was it? That's Mr. Blobby had a Christmas number 1 in the 90s, but which year was it? Question number 3. Timmy Mallett was in Bomb Ballerina, who had a terrible number 1 hit with Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini in 1990, but which famous musical is the name Bomb Ballerina taken from? That's question number 3. Timmy Mallett was in Bomb Ballerina, who had a terrible number 1 hit with Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini in 1990, but which famous musical is the name Bomb Ballerina taken from? Question number 4. Novelty rock band Green Jelly released the single Three Little Pigs in 1991. That song featured 2 members of which enormous US rock band on drums and guest vocals? That's novelty band Green Jelly released the single Three Little Pigs in 1992, featuring 2 members of which huge enormous rock band from the States on drums and guest vocals. Question number 5. Isaac Hayes had a novelty number 1 single in the 90s under a pseudonym. What was the single? That's Isaac Hayes had a novelty number 1 single in the 90s as a pseudonym. What was the name of the single? Number 6. Who released Cotton Eye Joe in 1994? And add a bonus point for what was the name of the follow-up single. So that's number 6. Who released Cotton Eye Joe in 1994? And for a bonus point, what was the name of their follow-up single? Question number 7. Which rockers teamed up with Manchester United to release Come On You Reds in 1994? That's number 7. Which rockers teamed up with Manchester United to release Come On You Reds in 1994? Question number 8. The Teletubbies had a number 1 single with Teletubbies Say Ayo in 1997. I want you to name all of the Teletubbies, please. That's a half a point for each. That's the Teletubbies had a number 1 single with the Teletubbies Say Ayo in 1997. Name all of the Teletubbies for half a point each. Question number 9. Which British guitarist was the producer on Hale & Pace's The Stonk, which was the 1991 comic relief single? That's which guitarist was the producer on Hale & Pace's The Stonk, which was the 1991 comic relief single? I'm going to give you 3 choices there. It was either Brian May, Mark Knopfler, or Dave Gilmour. So was it Brian May, Mark Knopfler, or Dave Gilmour? And finally for this round, which kids' TV theme tune was turned into a rave anthem by the Smarties in 1992? That's which TV theme tune, kids' TV theme tune I should say, was turned into a rave anthem by the Smarties in 1992. Okay, now for the music round. The music round goes out to my very, very good friend, Mr. Chris Green. He's a guitarist in a band called Taiketo. Also putting a lot of great online content out there at the moment. Just search for Chris Green Guitarist on all your social medias and you'll find him. Good stuff on YouTube, good stuff on Facebook Live. Basically what he does for us every week is he takes 3 1990s non-metal songs, so things like pop songs, that type of thing, and he metals them up for us, gives us guitar virtuoso versions of these songs. What we're going to do is we're going to play you his version. There's going to be 3 of these. We need you to tell us who the song is and who it was originally recorded by, or certainly who the 90s version was recorded by. Okay, let's hear number 1. Okay, let's hear that one again. Okay, that was great. Number 2. Okay, remember we're looking for the name of the artist and the name of the song. Let's hear number 2 now. And once more. And finally for this round, this is question number 3. Artist and song title, please. This one is number 3. And we'll hear that one more time. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that round. It's always one of our favourites here. Again, you can hear this every Friday on Facebook Live. We do these quizzes live. There's lots of banter, lots of we're a little, a lot ruder basically when we do it on the Facebook Live. This is just a little addition that we do. We keep it fairly straightforward here. Now, round number 4. This round is called a girl band or girl band. Now, basically, what we've got here is we're going to give you the names of the members of some all-girl bands, and you've got to basically give us the name of that band. They're from all across the rock genre, the pop genre, the country genre. There's all kinds of genres included here. So basically, the only criteria is it's all ladies in the band, and you need to tell us what the name of the band that they're in is. Okay, so number 1, Marty Irwin Maguire, Emily Irwin Robeson, and Natalie Maines. That's Marty Irwin Maguire, Emily Irwin Robeson, and Natalie Maines. What are they known as collectively? Number 2, Kathleen Hanna, Billy Karen, Kathy Wilcox, Toby Vale. That's Kathleen Hanna, Billy Karen, Kathy Wilcox, Toby Vale. What is the name of their band? Number 3, Susie Gardner, Donita Sparks, Dee Placus, and Jennifer Finch. What was the name of that group? Number 4, Terry Ellis, Dawn Robinson, Cindy Heron and Maxine Jones. That's Terry Ellis, Dawn Robinson, Cindy Heron and Maxine Jones. What was the name of that group? Number 5, Adele and Kiwi Lynch, Lindsay Arnu, Ashlyn Murphy and Sinead O'Carroll. That's Adele and Kiwi Lynch, Lindsay Armu, Aisling Murphy and Sinead O'Carroll. What was the name that they were collectively known as? Number 6, that's Jessica, Tenny Achacha, Agent Mulder and Michelle in Hell. What was the name of the group that they were in? That's Jessica, Tenny Achacha, Agent Mulder and Michelle in Hell. Question number 7, Cleo, Yona and Zaynab Higgins were collectively known as. That's Cleo, Yona and Zaynab Higgins were collectively known as. Number 8, Gillian Hanna, Megan Hanna, Lisa Koenig, Marcio Martinez and Joanna Baum. That's Gillian Hanna, Megan Hanna, Lisa Koenig, Marcio Martinez and Joanna Baum. What was the name of their group? Number 9, Kat Bjelland, Maureen Herman and Laurie Barbaro. What was their collective name? That's Kat Bjelland, Maureen Herman and Laurie Barbaro. And finally, we're looking for the name of this group: Shaznay Lewis, Melanie Blatt, Nicole and Natalie Appleton. That's Shaznay Lewis, Melanie Blatt, Nicole and Natalie Appleton. Okay, some tricky ones in there, I think you'll agree. Anyway, so this is round 5. This is our final round. This is the harder of the 2 trivia rounds. Question number 1. Name the male US singer who had a hit with Hazard in 1992. That's name the male US singer who had a hit with Hazard in 1992. Question number 2. Rock giants Metallica released 5 singles from their self-titled Black Album between 1991 and 1993. Enter Sandman was the first one. What was the last? That's Metallica released 5 singles from the Black Album between 1991 and 1993. Enter Sandman was the first. What was the last? Question number 3. Bob Mould of Husker Du returned in the 90s with the new band. What were they called? That's Bob Mould of 80s band Husker Du returned in the 90s with a new band. What were they called? Question number 4. Which number was the first Now That's What I Call Music album to be released in the 1990s? That's question number 4. Which number was the first Now That's What I Call Music album released in the 90s? Question number 5. Whose 1991 debut album was called A Pocket Full of Kryptonite? That's whose 1991 debut album was called A Pocket Full of Kryptonite. Question number 6. Which female duo was described by the NME as the Kylie and Dannii of Baby Tears punk rock pop back in 1994? That's which female duo was described by the NME as the Kylie and Dannii of Baby Tears punk rock pop in 1994. Question number 7. Which drum and bass collective includes Ronnie Size, DJ Crust and MC Dynamite? That's which drum and bass collective includes Ronnie Size, DJ Crust and MC Dynamite. Question number 8. Which record label set up in 1995 released albums by Bentley Rhythm Ace, Low Fidelity All Stars and Midfield General? Which record label set up in 1995 released albums by Bentley Rhythm Ace, Low Fidelity All Stars and Midfield General? Question number 9. Which 90s dance act is made up of Lady Miss Kier, Super DJ Dimitri and Tower Tay? That's which 1990s dance act was made up of Lady Miss Kier, Super DJ Dimitri and Tower Tay? And finally for this quiz, question number 10. In which year of the 1990s did Slipknot release their debut album? In which year of the 1990s did Slipknot release their debut album? Okay guys, that's the end of all the questions for this week's quiz. There are also a picture round whereby the co-host Waffles the Corgi has been put into some album covers and you have to guess which album we're talking about. That's over on our website, pclpodcast.com. There's also an anagrams round if you're a fan of anagrams and just want a bit of extra content to while away some lockdown hours. So those are over there. Obviously, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run you through the answers for this quiz. So I'm going to run through these pretty quickly. Round 1, Meatloaf only had one UK number 1 in the 90s. It was I Would Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That. Number 2, the act whose first hit was Una Dos Tres Maria. Last was Shake Your Bom Bom was Ricky Martin. Question 3, If You Tolerate This, Then Your Children Will Be Next was the Manic Street Preachers' only number 1 in the 90s. Question number 4, Beanie Man had a hit with Who Am I? Question number 5, Hadaway had the top 10 hit with What Is Love. Number 6, the lyric was from Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve. Number 7, 1991 was when Chesney Hawkes released The One and Only. Doo Wop, That Thing was released by Lauryn Hill. Question number 9, the rock band fronted by Brandon Boyd is Incubus. And question number 10, it was Chris Isaak who had hit singles with Blue Hotel and Wicked Game. Okay, so number 2, the novelty round. We were looking for one of 2 Rolf Harris songs. Number 1, it was either Stairway to Heaven or Bohemian Rhapsody, a point for either of those. Number 2, Mr. Blobby's number 1 was in 1993. Question number 3, the name Bomb Ballerina came from the musical Cats. Number 4, Green Jelly, who had the single Three Little Pigs, had 2 members of which band on vocals? It was Maynard James Keenan and Danny Carey from the rock band Tool. You only needed Tool for the point, of course. Number 5, Isaac Hayes had a number 1 in the 90s under a pseudonym. The pseudonym was Chef, and the song, which was the answer we were looking for, was Chocolate Salty Balls. Who released Cotton Eye Joe in 1994? That's question number 6. That was Rednecks, and you got a bonus point if you knew that the follow-up single was called Old Pop in an Oak. I did not know that. Number 7, which rockers teamed up with Man United to release Come On You Reds in 94? That was Status Quo. Question number 8, we were looking for the names of the Teletubbies. That's Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala and Poe. Question number 9, the guitarist producer who was the producer on Hale & Pace's The Stonk was Brian May. And the Smarties made a rave anthem out of the Sesame Street theme tune. Okay, here are your music round answers. Number 1 was Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On. And number 2 was Ricky Martin, Livin' Da Vida Loca. And number 3 was Alana Miles, Black Velvet. Okay, so the bands, I'm not going to read out all of the names individually. I'm just going to give you the answers. Number 1 was the Dixie Chicks. Number 2 was Bikini Kill. Number 3 was L7. Number 4 was En Vogue. Number 5 was Bewitched. Number 6 was Jack Off Jill. Number 7 was Cleopatra. Number 8 was Calamity Jane. Number 9 was Babes in Toyland. And number 10 was All Saints. And the answers for the final trivia round. Number 1, the US singer who had a hit with Hazard was Richard Marx. Number 2, Enter Sandman was the first single from the Black Album by Metallica. Sad But True was the last. Bob Mould returned in the 90s with a band called Sugar. Question number 4. The first Now That's What I Call Music album released in the 90s was Now 17. That came out in April 1990. Number 5. Whose 1991 debut album was called Pocket Full of Kryptonite? That was The Spin Doctors. Number 6, the female duo described as the Kylie and Danny of Baby Tears punk rock pop was Shampoo. Represent, number 7, was the name of the drum and bass collective with Ronnie Size, DJ Crust and MC Dynamite. Number 8, Skint was the record label that released albums by Bentley Rhythmates, Low Fidelity All Stars, Midfield General and more. Number 9, the dance act made up of Lady Miss Kier, Super DJ Dimitri and Tower Tay was of course D-Light. And the final answer there, in what year of the 90s did Slipknot release their debut album? That was in 1999. Okay guys, I hope you have enjoyed this week's quiz. Again, it's just a quick rundown. If you really want to get the most out of it, join us on the Friday Facebook Live. We are, I think, going to be starting to put up edited versions of this on as to be announced YouTube channel coming soon. That's what we're going to be doing. At the moment, we don't have Patreon or any kind of way of getting us some funds. That may be changing in the near future. We have, and thank you very much if you've got in contact with us and told us we should be doing that. That does actually mean a lot to us that some of you guys think that you should be paying for some of the crap that we put out. But anyway, we will be back next week with a regular episode, and we will be releasing these quizzes as intermittently as we can as well. So yeah, thanks for staying with us, guys. All of our social medias are in the outro that you're about to hear from Krista, so do follow us, keep in contact with us those ways, and we'll see you again next time. Take care.
Thank you for checking out this episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. It was produced and edited by us, for which we can only apologise. We're on Twitter at PCL Podcast, on Instagram also at PCL Podcast, and facebook.com/PCL Podcast. All of these, plus links to our various Spotify playlists, etc., are on our website, which is pclpodcast.com. Please feel free to get in contact via any of the social media or on pclmusicpodcast@gmail.com.